Hey, and we're back. So, I just finished doing the Balloona recap addendum type thing because I need to fix her, but we're gonna go back to working on the Sixth Doctor and Ian Chesterton now that I've fixed Balloona. If you've been watching my videos, you know I messed up really bad with what Balloona does and does not interact, like what does and does not interact with adventures, and she kind of desperately needed me to go back and fix her because of that. So let's see if Gatherer wants to work, and if it doesn't, we'll go back to Scryfall again. So we stopped at Streets of New Capenna last time, and its commander set. I do not have high hopes if you're not going to help me auto-complete the name of the set I'm looking for. Alright, so... Eh? Eh? Do we want to go to the thing? We actually work this time? Or is this just going to lag out? Because if it's already looking like it's... no, okay. I was about to go Scryfall again. You know me, Arena. You know I'm not going to... Arena. Different quality program. No, I'm not going to just let you sit there lagging the entire time. So... Alright. Back in the mentality of we're going to copy a whole bunch of things, mostly sagas. Is the amount of life you gain? No. Instant or sorcery? No. Commons. Don't need the deans. I don't need most of the deans. And I definitely can't run Augusta, because Plarg won't let me. Fractal tokens. Yeah, I don't need giant tokens, so... I'll have plenty of tokens to work with. Technically, that's not the focal point of the deck, though it does make an absolute absurdity of tokens, so... Yeah, I don't need double major. We already copy enough of our stuff as it is. Ecological appreciation. Up to 4 creature cards with different names that each have mana value X or less and reveal them. Chooses 2 of them, shuffle the chosen cards into your library, and the rest onto the battlefield. Yeah, no. None of that. Fractal summoning, no. Don't really need these dual lands. Exile the top X cards of your library, put a study counter on each of them, then put a card you own in exile with study counter on it into your hand. I don't think so, and I forget what the other Dean does, so I'll have to see when we get to her. Jadzi. Discard a card, return it to owner's hand. Reveal the top card of your library. If it's a non-land, you may cast it by paying 1 rather than paying its mana cost. If it's a land, put it onto the battlefield. Since we're not running a lot of instants and sorceries, that's kind of a waste. There we go. So, if it's a land, put it into your hand. Otherwise, put a study counter on it. 5 mana, create a 0/0 blue and green fractal token. With a 1/1 counter for each different mana value among non-lands you own in exile with study counters. Nope. Can't run Lizette because of Valatane, I think is his name. Create a fractal. Excess number of cards in your hand. Don't care. Exhibition. Not really. Don't need Mavinda for anything. Don't need more choice. No. No. Ondrick's Apprentice, no. Professor Bear. You're draining away that fake glimmer of hope I had, Gather. Alright. Alright, so our commander is white, blue, and green. And we are currently on Strixhaven. There we go. Yeah, you had your chance, Gather, and you got my hopes up and dashed them spectacularly. Speaking of dashing, stop sliding back up there, please, and thank you. Alright. We did pass over Fractal Summoning. I did not want that. Ingenious Mastery. There's Jodsy. There's Professor Bear. Alright. Return target creature or planeswalker to its owner's hand. Counter target artifact or enchantment spell. 2/1/1 counters on target creature or target player shuffles 3 cards from their graveyard into their library. Don't really need any of that. And having all of it on one card isn't helping. Star Pupil. Here. I will need you to tell me the set order, though. So if we could just go here, or eventually to there, see if we ever get there. Actually, the first one will work, right? I can just go card sets here. There we go. That's all I need. That way I know which set is up next. So Stronghold will be after this. Okay. So don't forget anything alphabetically. Tanazir Quandrix doubles the number of counters. Yeah, I don't need that. And I think I need some Moan. Yeah, okay. So Stronghold is next. I don't need Awakening. Don't really need Burgeoning either. I'm not planning on putting a lot of lands into my hand, so I should have enough extra land drops naturally that I don't need to rely on opponents playing lands in order for me to get extra land drops. Don't need Hesitation, Hidden Retreat, Intruder Alarm, Horn of Greed, Diamond, Mulch, no. Full, Provoke, Pursuit of Knowledge, Reigns of Power, Scapegoat, Severn, Smite, no. Spike Feeder, Lycids, Venerable Monk, Walrus Laboratory, any of the walls, no. Okay. Stronghold, we have Tempest. Right, it just jumps directly into it. Alright. Don't need Altar, don't need a Lauren. Might actually want Ancient Tomb, though. Tempest. Ancient Tomb. Angelic Protector, Armored Pegasus. No, Broken Fall, Capsize. Joke, Counterspell. No, don't need Dismiss. Get some water. Okay. Hey. Hope I muted that in time. Meddling, no. Essence Bottle. Fool's Tome. Gallantry, Gaseous Form, Ghost Town, Grindstone. Really, use this ability only during another player's turn. Okay, so that's not actually helping. I was like, wait a minute, can I use this on my turn to return it? Because if I can, with all the extra land drops, it would actually be an additional mana. But it's only during another player's turn. Oh, no. Heartward Tree Folk, Humility, no. Intuition, I don't think so. Don't need Lotus Petal. Marble Titan. Patchwork Gnomes, Pearl Medallion, no. Didn't need any of the medallions. Already have Rampant Growth, Reality, Anchor, no. Reap, no. Feel a white card, right? Yeah, don't need that. Don't think I need Scroll Rack. Shimmering Wings, Emissary. Yeah, don't need any of the shadow creatures. Squeeze Toy, Static Orb. Nope. Oh, Scryfall, don't you start with me now. Okay. Don't need Time Warp, or if I decide that we do, we'll go back and add it. Anything else? Don't need the Thalicos. Trade Wind Rider, no. Verdant Force, Wasteland. No. And no. Okay. That was Tempest. After Tempest comes Brothers War. Got rid of all my things again. Alright. Don't need the Cavalry, Wings. Plains card or creature card with mana value 3 or less. No. Think so. Need the Avenger. Opportunist. I don't think I need Power Stones at all for anything. Real quick. Where's Ian? Oh, right. This isn't going to work because this thing is running possibly slow. Okay. Give me another Scryfall then, real quick. Pull him up on the Replicate thing. I believe Replicate is an additional cost to. When you cast the Saga, copy it for each time you paid its Replicate cost. Is that a thing that I can pay with Power Stones? We don't have, like, any thing down here. Hmm. Yeah, I need something with Replicate. I think this will bring him up, unless there's two L's in Illuminatus, whatever his name is. There's probably two L's and it's not going to bring him up now. It's going to have, I have no idea what you're searching for, and I think you're an idiot. It's like, okay, that's. Oh no, there he is. It searched for him in a different language. That's not at all helpful. Only the English version of the card receives Oracle updates. If you cast a spell that already has Replicate while you have this creature on the battlefield, the spell will have 2 Replicate abilities. So technically what I need is, what's its name? The actual comprehensive rules document. I give up. Is my internet just like tanking right now, or is this because I'm not seeing any dropped frames? I'm not seeing anything else, but it is not right. And I cannot tell if this is Wizard sites specifically because Scryfall was going a little slow too, which is what makes me think it might be me. It's incredibly unhelpful because I don't 100% know if I can use Power Stones to pay for um Replicate, because Replicate is not a casting cost, but I think it might be an additional cost to, like, you pay the Replicate cost. I'm not sure if it functions like Kicker, where it's actually part of the cost of the spell, or if it's a separate cost I can pay that's not casting the spell and therefore would work with the Power Stones, even though I'm not casting an artifact. Like, I'm paying to activate an ability, and I genuinely don't know how that works, and everything is taking way too long to load right now for me to figure it out. Because if that actually works, I might be interested in something like Battery Bearer. Because if I'm making enough little creature tokens as an additional thing to all of the other stuff that I'm doing, and I can use all of that extra, but then again, that kind of feels like the same thing that I'm doing with Crewfix, except that I know that works. And at that point, would I rather just have Bootlegger's Stash than a 4 mana 3/4 that requires me to have creatures in play for it to work? I think the answer is I would probably just want to have Bootlegger's Stash. Alright, you can stop trying to load now. You're not going anywhere and it's not helping anything. um, so yeah, I don't think we actually want the Battery Bearer then. Maybe other things that make Power Stones if they do enough else. But alright. Let's see. Don't need Bushwhack, don't need Calamity's Wake. Cityscape Leveler, because I can copy this thing with the Doctor to get another copy of it. I can copy it to get another copy? Don't say. So we wouldn't get the cast trigger again. Same thing that happens with Ulamog, but we would have 2 of these in play that could then attack. And the original has Unearth randomly. I don't know that that's ever going to be super relevant, but it is another large thing to spend all of my extra mana on, so maybe. Escape Leveler 8. It's a construct? Yeah. 8, 8. Alright. I don't need Curate. Disenchant, Drafna, turn target artifact, copy target artifact spell. I'm already doing enough stuff like that. I don't need Drafna, and artifacts are not my primary thing. It's actually sagas. We just care about artifacts because the Doctor will also copy our artifacts for us while he's at it, because he's nice like that. Very helpful. True gentleman. Let's see. Okay, there's Drafna. Yeah, definitely don't want Fade from History. I like all of my artifacts and enchantments in play, thank you. Don't need the Firebomb for anything. Gwenna, no. A Hiracle. If you cast a non-creature spell this turn, reveal the top 5 cards of your library. For each card type among non-creature spells you've cast this turn, you may put a card of that type from among the revealed cards into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Eh. Hmm. So the nice thing about Loran is because she's legendary, I would get to disenchant two things when I cast her. So that kind of makes her, when the doctor's out, it makes her a return to dust, kind of, for one less mana, and they don't get exiled; they get destroyed instead. How often am I going to use the tap ability to make friends? We do have what's its name on the list right now? Smothering Tithe as a massive change of pace for me. Actually, running that card, so she works with that also. Is that good enough? Like, so most of the time, the doctor, like, if the doctor's not out, she's just going to be, or if I don't want to cast her first, if I need to copy something else more, but I still need to cast her, she's just going to be a Reclamation Sage. But sometimes she's going to be a Reclamation Sage that draws me extra cards, and sometimes she's going to be two Reclamation Sages in a trench coat, and that's kind of interesting. I feel like I jumped past a couple of cards after Hiracle because I didn't really consider. Yeah, I don't want them, but I didn't even consider them or even look at what they were. So, X is its power. No, don't need the command. Don't need reconstruction. Okay, so now we're back down with where Loran was. So maybe Ran of the third path is 2 and a white for a human artificer. An artificer 2/1. I don't know that she's going to make the deck. I can see her replacing Return to Dust, though, because of all the things I said previous about how she works. Like, that might be good enough. Don't need mass production, Stone's animation. Don't think I need my roll. I'm not trying to combo off on my turn, so same reason I didn't need any of the other ones. One with the multiverse. Probably not. Don't need platoon dispenser. Portal to Phyrexia. So we make two of them. Our opponents sacrifice 6 creatures. And then we get to reanimate 2 things on my upkeep. Unfortunately, it reanimates creatures, which is way, way less impressive than if it reanimated, like, permanents. So that would be too much. Yeah, I don't think we need Portal to Phyrexia. As good as a weird Plague Wind would be in our deck. Technically, it's a Hex or something at that point. And even more technically, it's that one where everybody sacks 6 creatures and then you make 6 zombie tokens. Uh, Steel Seeker. Pro Multicolored. No, don't need that. Simian Simulacrum. Spotterthopter. Full Partition. Yeah, I don't need the Seraph for anything. I think I need Surge Engine, despite it letting me draw 3 cards. Cast a Beast or Bird. No. 0 draw card. A 2/2 Spirit with Vigilance. And choose a permanent they control, returns it to the owner's hand. Yeah, I don't think we need that. Mightstone and Weakstone. No. Artifact. Target creature gains flying. No. The spider. Creatures you control have vigilance and tap Surveil 1. Exile her. Return any number of target artifact cards with total mana value 10 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield only as a sorcery. It's not really what I'm trying to do, so. Sorcery spells cost 1 less to cast. Yeah, I don't really need Urza. Or Prince of Krug. We've already done that deck. Any of these, I don't think. Counter on target creature you control. Yeah, I didn't think so, but I kind of rushed through them after deciding I didn't want Urza. Yep, okay. So that's the Brothers' War. The Transformer card's listed as... Yep. Okay, so that should work. I wasn't sure how Scryfall did them. Alright, prevent all combat damage will be dealt to attacking humans you control. Cast your second spell, flip him over. Can't be countered, at least one human attack. Draw a card and flip him back over again. Think so. One or more 1/1 counters from among artifacts you control. Target player adds that much colorless. And then flip him over. Convert him and adapt 3. Exile up to one other target tapped creature or vehicle. For as long as that card remains exiled, its owner may play it. Whenever a player plays a card removed, flip him over. Whenever another creature or vehicle enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on it. If this is the second time this ability is resolved, flip him back over. Whenever you gain life, you may convert him. Return target artifact card with mana value less than or equal to the amount of life you gained this turn. Yeah, none of these seem to be what I'm looking for. One or more non-token artifacts you control are put in the graveyard, flips them back over again. Alright. So, Brothers' War Commander next. Set number. As long as an artifact creature you control is attacking, prevent all damage that would be dealt to him. Exile the top 6 cards of your library, cast a vehicle or artifact creature spell from among them. Yeah, it's not really where I'm at. With a 1/1 counter on it, remove a counter from a permanent you control, search your library for planes and reveal it. Yeah, that requires opponents to have more land than me, and I'm not intentionally letting that happen. They're going to have to really work for it, so. X is the highest mana value among my artifacts. Combat damage to a player. Reveal that many cards from the top of your library. Put an artifact into your hand. Rest into your graveyard. Target artifact creature you control. For each creature chosen this way, create a token that's a copy of it. 6 counters. Remove a counter. Put a flying counter. Remove a counter from another creature. Gets a 1/1 counter. Till end of turn, you may play cards you own in exile with Kayla's music box. Think so. Enters the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield except it's an artifact and has tap add blue. No. Flying Vigilance, Trample Lifelink. No. Reveal the top 8 cards of your library. Put up to 2 non-creature artifact cards with total mana value less than or equal to the sacrificed artifact's mana value from among them onto the battlefield, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Nope. Draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. 3 mana, make a Thopter. Turns you control have Ward 2, mill 2 cards, and exile a non-land card. At random, copy it. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. If it becomes permanent becomes a token. Enters the battlefield. Starting with you, each player chooses up to 5 permanents they control. All permanents other than Disciple and the ones that weren't chosen this way phase out. Permanents can't phase in. Lands I control and lands in my library are basic. I may play Forest from my graveyard. Forest enters the battlefield under your control. Create a 5/3 green elemental creature token. Yeah, I don't care. Staff of Titania. Also don't care. Urza's Workshop. Nope. Okay. So nothing here. Alright, after the Brothers' War, we have the Dark and then the Lord of the Rings. Okay. Hey, don't need Amnesia. Don't need Apprentice Wizard. Barrel's Cage, no. Bone Flute, no. Book of Wrath, no. Dance of the Many. What is the exact Oracle wording on Dance of the Many? Enters the battlefield, create a token that's a copy of target non-token creature. When Dance of the Many leaves the battlefield, exile the token. Token leaves the battlefield, sacrifice Dance of the Many. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice unless you pay 2 blue. Alright, treat the token. If Dance of the Many... This is copied. Yeah, I assume that if I make multiple tokens, they're all tied to the same Dance of the Many at that point. Plus it has the upkeep cost of 2 blue, so that's not really helping much. Yeah, I don't think we need it. I might want Felwar Stone, though. For my mana ramping purposes. Back. Festival, Fire and Brimstone, Fasting. Did I need any of the other cards that were around Felwar Stone that I just kind of glossed over? Don't need Gaia's Touch, Ghost Ship, Hidden Path, Holy Light, no. No, Mana Vortex, Martyr's Cry. No. Creature, Pikeman, Psychic Allergy, Collecting Mirror, Rune Sword, no. I don't need the Skull of Orm, right? Because we have enough other ways to get it back, and 5 mana to put it in my hand. To spend all that mana to recast it is just way too much. Gotta be way too much. Like, we cut it from from Arietti's deck, and she has a lot more cheap enchantments to work with than this deck does, so. Yeah, I don't need any of these, I don't think. Stone Calendar is a tiny bit interesting, because we could make 2 of it in theory. But that still doesn't seem amazing. Alright, so that was the Dark, which brings us to the Lord of the Rings. Alright, what are we at time-wise now? We're at an hour, but I did like almost 30 minutes for working on Baluna and fixing her, so that gives us about 30 minutes more for this one then. Alright, Andril, Name of the West. Think so. Aragorn, Arwen, Wed. Enters the battlefield or attacks, put a 1/1 counter on each other creature you control. Gain 1 life for each creature you control. Don't think so. Ring tempts you if you chose a creature other than Aragorn, company leader, as your ring bearer. Yeah, I'm not going to get tempted by the ring all that much, if at all, so don't need any of that. 2/2 with an indestructible counter. Move the indestructible counter from her. Another target creature gains indestructible until end of turn. Put a 1/1 counter and a lifelink counter on both them and Arwen. Probably not. I think we have better ways to protect, like the Doctor or Ian, from getting murdered. And she can only protect creatures. If she could protect any of my permanents, like if I could use her to save like one of my sagas from getting killed, maybe. Build the pony, no. Bombadil song, no. Sacrifice Boromir. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. The ring tempts you. Ah, well. Don't need the farmer. Don't need Butterbur. Celeborn. No. Don't need Dawn of the New Age. Deceive the Messenger. Lighted Halfling. Nah, I don't think so. An indestructible counter on another target creature you control. Draw a card if that creature's power is 2 or less. Don't think so. Enters the battlefield, create a food token at the beginning of your end step. If you sacrificed a food this turn, you may search your library for a basic land card. Put that card onto the battlefield. No. Master of Healing. Nope. Look at the top card of your library anytime. Cast creatures from the top, and my creatures have tap add mana. No. I don't think I need an expensive Cryptolith Rites that's letting me cast one of the lower quantity permanent types in my deck. Don't need the Mariner. No. Rohan, no. Iron Rider. I already have the sagas, so unless one of them has suddenly become way better than I thought it was going to be. Tree Shepherd. Have Vigilance. One or more tree folk you control attack. Add twice that much green. I don't lose unspent green mana. Creature died under your control. Draw a card. Really need that. Beginning of your end step. Choose an opponent. Beginning of that player's next end step. Draw a card. If they didn't attack me that turn, otherwise create 3 1/1s. Like, we do have payoffs for the tokens, and we would probably get a lot more than 3 1/1s out of it, but it's still not going to be enough, I don't think. And it only affects that one player, too, so it's not like we do it for each of our opponents. Get +1/+1. No. On the Barrow Downs. Forge anew is equipment based. Don't need Frodo. Enters the battlefield or attacks, you may attach target equipment you control with mana value 2 or less. As long as it's your turn, prevent all damage that will be dealt to him. No. Enters the battlefield or attacks, choose one, put a 1/1 counter target creature, create a food token, create a treasure token. It's alright. Anything I think I really need for this deck? Oh, Gandalf, why can't you just let me cast historic cards as though they had flash? Killing me. Like, that might still be good enough. Yeah, it's probably still good enough to at least consider. Real quick, if you choose, you get to scry 3. Yeah, I don't need that. Don't need Gandalf of the Shire. So Gandalf the White. Gandalf the White is 4 mana, 5 mana. 3 white white for an avatar wizard 4/5. Yeah. Alright, so yeah, we still have to consider him because the doctor triggers once per turn, not just my turn. So if I give my artifacts and legendaries flash, that's still enough other cards that I can copy where I might cast the saga on my turn and get a copy of it, and then cast like the mana rock on an opponent's turn. So I get 2 mana rocks still. Cast a spell. Creatures you control get +1/+0. Scry 1. Nope. Don't need Generous End. Gift of Strands. Equipped creature deals combat damage to a player. You may cast an instant or sorcery spell from your hand with mana value less than or equal to the damage. Whenever you scry, choose one. No. Goldberry we almost definitely want. So move a counter of each kind not on Goldberry from another target permanent you control onto Goldberry, and then move one or more counters from Goldberry onto another target permanent you control if you do draw a card. So what Goldberry lets you do is remove a counter from one saga onto her, and then later on move that counter onto a different saga. So she lets you go back and do the chapter that the last counter triggered next turn. Like if you're on chapter 2 and she removes the counter, the next turn you'll go to chapter 2 and you'll do chapter 2 again. And then she can move that counter onto a different saga, so that way we can speed read through that one to get to the better effect while re-triggering. Like, if the one saga is really good towards the end and the other saga is really good towards the beginning, we get to move the counters around and manipulate it that way. So, and we get to draw cards while we're doing this. So Goldberry has a lot of potential. Also, she can move around any other types of counters, so... Also, with Chisei, she can remove the counters onto herself, and then Chisei can eat the counters off of her if we need to. So that way both of them can potentially do stuff. Like, I don't know if we would ever get into a position where we would need to do that specifically, but maybe. And it is an option because of that, so... This is Goldberry, is her actual name. I've said her name like 3 times, and I'm like, now what is her name again? I'm sorry, they cut Tom Bombadil out of the Lord of the Rings Peter Jackson movies, so... She's 1 in a blue, and she's a nymph, I think? Yep. 1/3. Alright. Great Hall of the Citadel. No. Wahir the Windlord. Other birds you control have vigilance. Yeah, no. Horn of Gondor. Not even with all of the token making that we're doing, do I really care about the horn. Untap another target permanent. Untap 2 other target... Hang on. Untap 2 other target legendary creatures. How am I going infinite with her when I make the second copy? So one of the things that I'm untapping... The other thing has to be a legendary creature. Alright, I'm going to add her to the list, and we're going to figure out what infinite combos I actually do when I make the second copy of her. Yorith. of the healing house. Is 2 and a blue for a human cleric. 1/4. Yeah, we'll figure out what she can go infinite with later. Landreval, no. Legolas, don't think so. Draw cards equal greatest toughness among creatures you control, then put any number of creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield. Yeah, I don't think so. Don't need that, Legolas. Lorien revealed, no. Lost Isles Call, no. No. Mary. Draw a card only if you attack with 2 or more creatures this turn. Power is equal number of cards in your hand. Attacks, you may tap any number of untapped humans you control. Draw a card for each human tapped this way. Beginning of combat on your turn, target elf you control gains trample and gets +X/+X, where X is the number of forests you control. No. Don't need the coat. Think. Nimrindel Watcher. Palantir. I don't think we need the Palantir. Like, I do love the Palantir, but I love it mostly for limited magic, not for constructed. Okay, then they may have me draw a card. If that player doesn't, I mill X, they take damage. Yeah, I don't really. That's not how I'm going to win the game, and I don't think I super care. Another target creature you control gains protection from the card type of your choice. Draw your second card, make a soldier. Quick Beam or another Tree Folk, no. Or another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control. Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is that creature's mana value. You may reveal a creature that doesn't share a creature type with a creature you control from among those cards and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. I don't think we need that. Need Reprieve. Really need Rivendell. Samwise is only okay. Need Rosie. Another non-token creature enters the battlefield on your control. Make a food. Sack 3 foods. Return target historic card from your graveyard to your hand. Another non-token creature. That is very difficult for this deck to pull off, actually. Like, we need to have 3 different creatures. If I was making food other ways, like, just as a side effect, but I'm only really making food from, it would be him, Welcome to Sweet Tooth, and of Spices and Rabbits, I believe, are primary ways of making food tokens right now. I don't think we could, like, the upside is we would make a token copy of him. Oh, he wouldn't trigger himself anyway because he's another non-token. I was going to say the token would resolve first, but... Oh no, wait, yes, the token would resolve first, so the token would see regular Samwise come into play and make a food, so we would get the first food. So I only need one other creature, non-token creature at that point. And then I can get the 3 foods that I would need to buy back one of my historic cards. But then it takes 2 non-token creatures. Unless I actually get, like, the things so that way I'm making 3 copies or more of Samwise, Or doubling season, making copies of the food too, then every creature at that point. Alright, if we can get to the part where creature, every non-token creature coming into play is triggering Sam and I'm getting a historic card back, we probably can do something with him. Oops. Alright. Fine. Okay, it is 2Es. White and a green. Hobbit Citizen, I believe. Halfling Peasant. Close enough. Close enough. All of those were synonyms. Master of Buckland or another non-token creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield. Create a 1/1 halfling token. Tap 2 other untapped halflings you control. +2/+0 and gains lifelink. Nope. Don't need second breakfast. Sack a token. Exile target creature an opponent controls until it leaves the battlefield. If a permanent you controlled left the battlefield this turn, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. Lots of my permanents are going to leave the battlefield frequently, but a singular 1/1 counter is not the payoff I'm looking for that. Yeah, don't need Slip on the Ring. No. If a creature opponent controls would die, exile instead. Exile target player's graveyard, draw a card. Alright, we already have the Tale of Tinuvial and the Bath Song. The Battle of Bywater. Alright, do I want the One Ring? If I cast it, gain protection from everything. Begin my upkeep, lose 1 life for each counter on it. Tap, put a counter on it. So I have Chisei, and I have Goldberry, so I can get the counters off of it if I need to. Yeah, okay. I will consider the One Ring. Watcher in the Water. Tap with 9 stun counters, draw a card. During an opponent's turn, make a tentacle. Whenever a tentacle I control dies, untap up to 1 target Kraken and put a stun counter on up to 1 target non-land permanent. Don't need the brooch. Leave War, the Last Alliance. Yeah, it's already on the list. And don't need any of those. Alright, so we'll do the commander set, and I think that'll be good enough for right now, so... Is it Tales of Middle-earth Commander, then? Tales of Middle-earth Commander. There we go. This in here... At the beginning of combat on your turn, if another elf entered the battlefield, I already know I don't want this, but... Yeah. Whenever you cast a spell with mana value 5 or greater, each opponent reveals the top card of their library. If any of those cards share a card type with the spell, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy, and each opponent draws a card. Otherwise, you draw a card. Beginning of combat, make a food. Activate abilities of foods, cost 1 less. Or another human enters the battlefield. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain vigilance. I become the monarch. No. Enters the battlefield, create a food token, then create a 1/1 halfling and attach field-tested frying pan to it. +X/+X, where X is the amount of life gained. No. Need the gaffer. Exile another target creature you control. You may return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. If you don't, at the beginning of the next end step, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control with a vigilance counter and a lifelink counter. Yeah, don't really need that. Put a 1/1 counter on it equal to the number of creatures cards exiled this way. Nope. Attacks target attacking creature gains flying. If I gain 3 or more life, I make a 3/3. Think so. Or another human enters the battlefield under your control, tap target creature and opponent controls, and begin my upkeep, make a 1/1. Or I have the Saga. I become the Monarch. No. Target Goblin, Orc, or Pirate can't be blocked this turn. Deals combat damage to a player, Mass Orcs 3. I become the Monarch. The Monarch controls enchanted creature. Alright, Monstrosity of the Lake. No. Choose a creature type. All creatures that aren't that type to owner's hand. Gain control of each non-commander creature with mana value 3 or less. No. Trap the Trespassers. No. Each other creature enters the battlefield with a number of 1/1 counters on it equal to Arwen's toughness. No. Creatures you control have reach. Sacrifice it. Create 3 tapped XX Tree Folk, where X is the amount of life you gain this turn. No. Devour Food 3. With power less than Feasting Hobbits, power can't block it. Create X Elves, where X is the number of attacking creatures. Prevent all combat damage would be dealt this turn by non-elf creatures. Enters the battlefield with X counters on it. Until end of turn, other elves get +1/+1 for each counter on him. Another non-legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control. Put a 1/1 counter on him. Oh, another legendary. I was like, why is it another non-legendary? Another legendary creature, put a 1/1 counter on him. Deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Enters the battlefield or attacks, return target elf. Trample, haste, attacking creatures get +1/+1. If a food entered the battlefield, they get an additional +2/+2, and they untap. Go to Prize Pig. Search my library for a basic land, put it into play tapped. Return a card from my graveyard to my hand. Nope. Don't need banquet guests. Boromir Gondor's Hope. Enters the battlefield, top 6 cards, reveal a human or artifact into my hand, rest on the bottom in a random order. Enters the battlefield or attacks, each player secretly votes for a player, then those votes are revealed. Each player draws a card for each vote they received. Each player who received no votes may put a permanent card from their hand onto the battlefield. Nope. Each player secretly votes for fellowship or aid. Oh, right, I get to steal their creatures if they aid me. Whenever a player finishes voting, each opponent who voted for a choice you voted for creates a treasure token. Use Scry X, where X is the number of opponents who voted for a choice you didn't vote for, and draw a card. Whenever a legendary creature with mana value 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, you become the Monarch. If you're the Monarch, create 2 humans. Yeah. Enters the battlefield, create X 1/1 halflings and X food tokens. That is a little bit tempting for the sheer number of stuff I would be able to make, but I don't think so. Warden of Isengard. One or more artifacts enter the battlefield on your control. Create a 1/1 soldier with lifelink once per turn. Attacks you. Target attacking creature gets -2 power. Or player attacks if they aren't attacking you, that player gives one of their creatures +2 power. Decent birds have Ward 1. Cast a spell with mana value 5 or greater. Will of the Council. Starting with you, each player votes for return or embark. Returns up to 2 cards from their graveyard to your hand. And you exile Sail to the West. If embark gets more votes, or the vote is tied, each player may discard their hand and draw 7 cards. Alright, we already have the Song of Irandil. Trample, Ward 2, Gracious Host enters the battlefield, create 2 foods. Gain life, put that many 1/1 counters on target halfling or tree folk. Monarch, costs 3 less if I'm the Monarch. Nope. No. Equipped creature attacks. It deals damage equal to its power to target creature defending player controls. No. And Model of Unity. Alright. Well, that's going to do it for me for now. I'm going to take a little bit of a break, give my voice some rest, and then we'll be back. We'll be doing something on Arena, I'm sure. We'll draft something. I just don't know what yet. I have to double check what's available, but till then, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Have a good rest of your day.